Hello everybody, this is my wife's daily mum car. It's a Gen 2 facelift Cayenne Turbo that we recently purchased for just £15,000. And I had it booked in for a post-purchase inspection because I bought it privately and we want to find out if there's a reason it was so cheap. However, this morning, disaster has struck. An engine warning light has popped up on the Cayenne. So as this fire-breathing 4.8 litre V8 is now running in a limp mode, I've just called up my friends at Exotic and SUPERCAR, who very kindly said I can take it over to their new Porsche specialist tech today to have a look at what the issue is. And in real time, I'm not sure when this video is going out, but this is shortly after I had an engine management light with the latest addition to the family fleet, my E61 M5. With the M5, it was just a coil pack. Are we going to be lucky and get away relatively cheaply with the Porsche? Well, in this video, we're going to find out. We're going to do the post-purchase inspection, find out what the issue is, and more importantly, how much all of it is going to cost me. But I am starting to think, have I bitten off more than I can chew financially with having these three cars on the drive? Let's find out. My name's Ben, and welcome to Dadcars. Ben, thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks for squeezing us in today.
Yeah, no, of course.
So the original plan was that we were going to be doing full post-purchase inspection next week, all the rest of it, but it's happened this morning.
Yes.
There's a problem, and you very kindly managed to squeeze us in today. I really appreciate
That's
it.
right.
But just tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah,
you've recently joined the team here,
Yeah,
haven't
I've
you?
not been here too long. End of February I started here, so my background was predominantly Regal Autosport. I was there for nearly 15 years, so I kind of started my career. Lots of Porsches, Lamborghinis, the odd Ferrari, lots of the German stuff. Kind of my time is done there, and I've come across to here, very close to home and stuff, and yeah, really enjoying it.
But it's wonderful that Exotic and SUPERCAR now have got the Porsche guy with yourself as well.
It definitely helps.
Which is really handy for owners like me who've got, you know, cars from different
and
brands.
we're seeing a lot more of them coming in as well. Lots of Cayennes, and we've had some GT3s coming in, and it's great because it's nice to have some knowledge. So when they're coming in, we can fix them. So
customers can come and pick up their Ferrari and then drop off their 911, and you can do that whilst Ash is working on another Ferrari affairs. The issue that we're having this morning is it's like double cranking.
Sure. And
then it's running a bit rough and then pops up saying that it's in reduced power engine mode.
Check engine light and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Hoping it's not going to be something massive.
It'd be a nice cheap fix, but who knows?
Yeah, that's it. But also, if we can do like a full, you know, post-purchase inspection, health check on the whole thing, because look, this isn't a car that I'm looking to be running on a budget, even though I've got it for a really good price. Sure. I mean, it's a special car, special engine, and I want to sort of baby it really.
Definitely, and it's good to pick up any things that are wrong with it now before later down the line they turn into bigger stuff, and that's a great thing with a pre-inspection. Is you pick up those things nice and early. So then you're not unexpected massive bills in a couple of months' time. So yeah, we'll go right through it. Let's scan it, check underneath, and go from there. So I've done a quick test. We've got 14 fault codes in the engine. So if we go into that, I'll just give you a little rundown of what we're seeing. Obviously your symptoms are it's not started nice, it's a long crank, you've got the engine light on, it's like a rough running as well, like a misfire. So cylinder 6 misfire, we've got a cylinder 8 and cylinder 6 ignition module, essentially a coil pack. However, the ones that we're kind of skeptical about at the moment is this fuel high pressure too low. Now, they're not active at the moment. I've noticed the fuel light is on, and you have said yourself, your other half does like to run it a bit low on fuel, so it could just be that that's stored because of that. These cars are super sensitive. They run such like a high pressure. They need that demand straight away. Yeah. We're gonna do a couple more checks. Now I've got a report of this, I'm gonna clear them out and just see what comes back quick. And that'll give us a bit more of an idea of what's going on. All right, so you can probably see, if you come over here, down the back here, this is where the high pressure fuel pump's situated. Okay. Kind of runs off the back of the camshafts. Now, it's not uncommon for them to go. We've seen them before. Kind of the seals inside just wear out. So what happens is that demand for that high pressure just can't build up enough for the injectors to squirt very well.
Okay, that would be easy to access if
Yeah, exactly that. If you get some of these cars, they run off the back of the chains and they're completely buried. So yeah, they're not too bad to do on this Obviously this engine's in the Panameras and all those as well. There's a bit tight around the back, but fortunately because it's a Cayenne, we've got a bit more room on these.
Yeah.
So that looks all nice and dry up top, which is good. No visible oil leaks up here. So
I was hoping that the misfire issue was going to be a simple fix, something as simple as a coil pack, but those hopes were fading and things were looking like it was going to be an expensive fuel pump replacement. So as Ben started his full post-purchase inspection on this car, I had everything crossed that he wouldn't find anything else major that we needed to do immediately.
A little bit of surface rust.
yeah, a little bit of surface corrosion. Dry, which is good. Can't see any leaks of any such, so always a good sign. Nice and dry under it. Tiny little bit of oil seeping out of that active anti-roll bar, but that is not really a lot to worry about. I think we've just cleaned that off and monitor that. Yeah, nice dry stamp, no oil leaks. Belts all look in good condition. Subframe bushes are good. What a nice example.
Yeah, I think I got a really good deal on this.
Yeah. So on this transfer box, you were just saying it's had one. We can prove it has. It's got a date stamp on here of 2022. Obviously that's 4 years old now, but it could have just been sat on the shelf. But yeah, right in here, you can see 2 and 2, so that is 2022.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I think
It's
it's
good.
18 months ago.
Yeah, most components on a car have got a date stamp on them, so which comes in handy for us when we're diagnosing cars and stuff, because especially people that haven't told us the truth, and we're like, well, actually, that's not your normal module or component.
Yeah, because the transfer case is quite common on these, right?
Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah.
It's most big SUVs actually, all the BMWs and stuff, they always have the problems. Again, it always comes down to your tyres as well, uneven tread wears. They say you're supposed to replace all 4 at once because it has such a knock-on effect with this thing. So gearboxes, as long as you keep the maintenance up on these, I think it's 60,000 miles on these things to do the oil and filter on them. That's it, they'll just go on and on if you keep on top of that. It all looks good under here, it's nice and dry. All the bushes look good, no kind of splits or cracking or perishing. So all looks nice and tight, which is good. The only thing I've picked up on are the brakes. So front and rear discs are a little bit lipped, pads are about 4mm, so not a massive urgent thing to do, but yeah, once they get down a little bit, it's going to be brakes all round.
Right, Ben, so what's your professional opinion of that car? Do you think I've got a good car?
I think you've got a good car and a very good deal by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
I mean, looking over it, there was nothing that was really sticking out of any problems. Obviously, we found your brakes were a little bit worn, but it's just normal wear and tear.
Yeah.
All in all, I think pretty good going.
Yeah,
So,
a little tiny bit of surface corrosion as well.
yeah,
which
we found a little bit of corrosion, which
perhaps when it's in for next service, then
yeah, we can tidy that
you
up
guys
and
just to
treat it.
yeah. In regards to the issue, though, which you
Yes.
know, sort of triggered all of this and getting it in sooner. So you think it's the fuel pump?
Yeah, so on these, it's very common for the high pressure fuel pump. They've got kind of seals inside which wear out, so on that initial start, it's struggling to build up the pressure. Once it's running, it's okay, but as soon as you turn it off, that fuel leaks back to the tank.
Right.
So what's
yeah.
happening is every time you're going to start it, it's just cranking and cranking whilst it builds the pressure.
Yeah.
Super common on these things. Obviously, I'm going to do a couple more tests just to confirm it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll get the part ordered and hopefully get it back on the road soon. So.
Fantastic. Right. Okay. Cool. So I'm going to leave the car with you then.
Yep.
Before the end of this video, we will find out if that has solved the issue
Yep.
or if there's
Yep.
something else that we
Yep.
need to do as well. And also, I'll let everybody know what the cost is as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So while the primary family car, the Cayenne, was out of action waiting for parts, we used my new E61 M5 Touring as the primary family car. It did a fantastic job because it's got a 4-cross multimac in the back, it's got a large boot, and my wife, as her daily, well, she started using the most reliable car we've got, the Dadcars. It was during this period as well that Nick Sahota was expecting his 3rd child, and he took delivery of his first multimac, which he'd be able to use in a selection of his cars, including a couple of his Rolls Royces and his BMW X7. I kind of take it for granted now because I've been using our multimac for so many years, but it's worth pointing out, if it wasn't for the multimac, parents like me with 3 or 4 children would be so limited on the cars that we can actually use and make memories with our family in. If you know anybody who is expecting their 3rd or 4th child, please let them know about the multimac. You join us now back at Exotic and Supercar once all of the work on the Cayenne was complete.
All right, Ben. How's it
Hello,
going?
good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you. So it's been about a week, hasn't it? But
It
it's
has,
been because we've been waiting on some parts coming.
Yeah.
Did some of them have to come from Germany?
Oh, they did, yeah. So Porsche didn't have it in stock, so they had to get them in from Germany.
It's one hell of a mum car, right?
It is, oh yeah.
Suitable for the school run, so the kids are never late.
Yeah, exactly that. And it's quiet as well. I mean, I know you've had some pipes taken out of it, and it's got that growl to it, but with the windows up and stuff, it's silky smooth, so it's
Still nice and refined, isn't
exactly
it?
that.
Yeah. But now I've got the painful part. I need to go and see Ollie and find out how much all of this
it's going to cost. Yeah.
Because there's been some additional diagnostic work. It wasn't just simply a case of, in the end, swapping this in and out. And also, this is quite an expensive part, isn't it?
It is, yes. Yeah, it is quite expensive.
Yeah. Right, Ollie, so it's a moment of truth.
Yeah, sure.
This is the most painful part, is when you're going to present me with the invoice. It's the fuel pump, right?
Yeah.
Fuel pump. And a fuel pump on a Volkswagen Touareg, what are we talking, like 250, 300 quid?
So it's a high pressure pump, sits on the motor itself. So it's labour intensive. It's obviously massively reliant on how the car performs due to the nature of the car. And it's a genuine part, so it's got to be right.
So it's not just a Volkswagen Touareg part, is it? That 4.8 is a Porsche engine, and all the parts are Porsche.
The first price that Porsche come back with was like 14.75, something like that.
Yeah.
Got quite a nice relationship with them, so just lent on them a little bit to see if they could help us due to the nature of what we're doing and stuff. They did come back with a better price. There were other things involved, so obviously we diagnosed the fault. We found out what was wrong with it. There's a small cap that goes on the end of the cam gear when you're doing it. That cap had actually all broken up, so we've had to get one of those. And then there was a misfire issue as well, which we were kind of chasing around the car, which meant we've had to do 2 core packs. And whilst we were there, we did the plugs because the plugs were looking a bit sooted up. But that's probably because of how the car was running. So now it's nice and clean, it should run a lot smoother.
See, this is interesting because I recently did my road test of it and I was quite critical about how the car was like delivering its power. And I upset some Cayenne Turbo owners, you know, because I was saying that it was a bit delayed and, you know. So I'm going to be fascinated when I drive this.
You should drive it then, yeah. Because I would say it's quite a fast family car.
Yeah. I mean, when it is or eventually gets on boost and it's it's going, it's incredibly, it's a missile, isn't it? But yeah, there's quite a big delay from delivering that power. So knowing that a couple of core packs were wrong and all of the sparks were
just
nasty
suited up, not very nice. But that could all be related to the pump because the pump's obviously weak, so it's probably not delivering the fuel at once. It's not running quite right due to the misfire. Yeah. Now everything's clean and performing as it should. I would, agree. You need to drive it and maybe re-review it.
Yeah, well,
I was quite impressed with it. So.
Hit me with it then. What is all in for all the parts, the labour? How much is?
So you've got obviously diagnostic fee, parts. That was the reason it took so long because it had to come from Germany. The additional bits, a bit more fault finding, but it's just shy of £2,800.
£2,800.
Yeah.
Okay. It is the nature of the beast, right?
Yeah.
This isn't a Qashqai. Although, funnily enough, I could buy a 2014 Qashqai outright probably for that amount of money.
For the price of your bill,
Yeah, for the price of the bill. But it's not, is it? I mean, that is a super SUV.
Yeah, it's a lovely thing. It's a lovely thing. And now it's right,
I say it on the channel all the time. I say, like, you could get these incredible depreciated bargains that people like me shouldn't really be able to afford, because what would a new one of those cost? Like over £100,000 now.
Car.
But I paid just £15,000 for it. But it is the running and maintenance cost, isn't it? You've got to be prepared to be spending £2,000 to £4,000 in servicing and maintenance, and each year to look after them properly. So it is just part and parcel of it. Yeah, it's suddenly hitting me though that the dream of having 2 V8s and a V10 on my driveway, it's a wonderful thing until you start to think, hang on, there's going to be like this 3 times as often now. But no, look, that's great. Thank you for sorting it all out and doing it all. That's great.
So there is some good news out of all of this.
Okay.
In that I have managed to look after you a little bit on the price.
Oh, what, you're going to help me out on this price
But
of it?
you do need to clean the Yaris because you didn't clean it the other day when you borrowed it.
Okay, all right, that's a fair deal.
Okay.
I'll clean multiple cars.
Good.
I'll come in on the weekend in the morning and clean multiple cars if you could help me out on that bill a little bit. That would be amazing.
SUPERCAR paper round.
Yeah, oh, thanks, mate. I do really appreciate
No
that. Thank
worries.
you. Right, let's see how she fires up now. Oh, yes. Oh, it definitely feels more responsive now. The power delivery. I'm not even in sport. Right, hang on. Let's put it in sport. Oh my goodness, this thing is such a rocket ship, isn't it? Oh, and the power delivery does feel better as well. Yeah, I do still think to get the most out of this, it does need a remap, but I'm not going to do it. It's not my car, it's my wife's. She likes the way that the power is delivered in this car from standard. Look, this is obviously why these high-end performance SUVs, as they get to a certain age and a certain mileage, why they are so cheap to buy is because, you know, the maintenance cost stays high, the parts price stays high, you know, as if this was its original purchase price. But for those who can justify spending £2,000 to £4,000 maybe per year in servicing, maintenance, tyres, you know, all adds up, doesn't it? If you and your family do really get the enjoyment out of it, get to make the memories in something which you otherwise wouldn't be able to afford, it's certainly something that I am happy to justify. A really good gut check, I think, is anytime you do have to pay out a large maintenance invoice, if when you're driving the car home, does it feel incredible? Does it put a smile on your face? Does the money that you've just spent, does it slip from your mind as you're enjoying driving your incredible car? That's a good way of knowing if it is money well spent. And this does feel sublime now. And my wife, I know she is going to be so happy to get this beautiful car back with its very crisp, cool aircon. Incredible cabin. Yeah, she's gonna love having this back. Let's do a pull away from the lights. Oh, it's a rocket ship. It's a ridiculous fun car. Also, I've said it a million times in videos, but it is massively my opinion that, you know, if you're buying a Porsche, an Aston Martin, a Maserati, you know, any car like this, of a certain age, finding a good independent specialist to look after that car, to look after you, that is so integral, right? Because I'm not convinced that, you know, these big marquee brands really care about their cars once they get to a certain age. And Exotic and SUPERCAR are incredible. I mean, I was just talking to Ben and he was telling me how it might be worth just changing the other 8 coil packs as well. But it's a discussion, you know, they talk to you, they don't just slap everything in and then give you a bill which is twice as big as the one that I've just paid. You know, it's a discussion. And within the next month or so, it's going to be a year since this car's last service. So I'm going to be taking it up to Exotic and SUPERCAR for service, and I will probably just get the other 8 coil packs done at the same time because it is my wife's car and I just want it running sweet for her and the kids. But the fact is, this has been an expensive month for me. Had to get a full set of tyres for the Gran Turismo, which was very expensive. I've had some issues with the M5, and I don't know, this is the first time that I'm starting to think, have I overfilled my plate just a little bit with having 2 V8s and a V10 on the driveway? How long can I comfortably afford to be paying the appropriate maintenance bills on these cars, because there's 3 of them now? In fact, I'd love to hear your opinion in the comments below. If it gets to the point where things are getting uncomfortable financially in terms of looking after these cars properly, and I had to sell one of them, which one do you think I should sell? This, the Gran Turismo, or the M5? Let me know in the comments below. If you've made it this far, could you do me a favor? Just check that you have clicked that subscribe button, because I know there's loads of people who enjoy watching these videos but they haven't realised that they've not actually clicked subscribe yet. I would really love to get to 100,000 subs. And you might have missed this video here, which I think you'll enjoy, but thank you so much for watching.